Hello and welcome to this lecture, and in this lecture we will go ahead and add that image, which is the uploaded image, into the backend in the Firebase database. So let's quickly go ahead and make a few changes to the code which we had from the previous lecture. So in the previous lecture we had these things wherein we could pick an image and put it up on the image button. Now the first thing which you need to do is that you need to get a reference to the Firebase database first, or the Firebase storage first. So make sure that you go to Tools, Firebase, and you always make sure that the storage over here is enabled. That is, you have added the Firebase storage to your app. So I guess I have not yet added it over here. So in order to confirm, you could go to the Gradle and you could go over here, and as you could see, the Firebase storage has been already added. So after adding the Firebase storage, we first get a reference to the Firebase storage. So in order to get that, what we will do is that we will go right here in the add food activity, and here we will type in private. That's going to be storage reference, and I guess I'm not able to add the storage reference yet. I guess I might have to add the dependency again. So let me go to my assistant, add storage, accept changes, and hopefully this should work this time. Okay, now the dependency is actually added. So sometimes Firebase might cause some error. Even if you have the dependency over there, you need to click this button in order to be able to access those methods. So that's going to be private storage reference, and that's going to be storage reference. First initialize it to null, and then the next thing which you do is that you go ahead and get a reference to the storage reference itself. So in the onCreate method, let me just get rid of this. So that's going to be storage reference equals Firebase storage dot get instance dot get reference, and here what we will do is that we will store this under the folder which is going to be called as item. So once we have the storage reference over here, the next thing which we need to do is that we do need to go ahead to the XML code and check the onClick method for this. So the onClick method for this is add item button clicked. So you simply copy this thing, go back to the activity, which is the add food activity, and we go ahead and create a method for this as well. So that's going to be public void add food or add item button clicked, and let's pass in a view over here. So that's going to be view, and in here the first thing which we do is that we go ahead and extract values from each of these edit text. So what we will do here is that we will type in string, let's say name text, to get the name of the item which is inserted. So that's going to be name dot get text dot toString, and then finally trim the value. So that's going to be done by using the trim method, and I'm going to copy the same code and paste the same thing for description and price. So that's going to be DESC text, this one is going to be price text, and this is going to be DESC, and this one is going to be price. So once this thing is done, we now have the values which is entered by the user in these three edit text. And the reason for taking these values even before we insert the image value into the database is because we want to check that the user has non-empty values over here. So essentially, if the user actually enters a non-zero value, or if he decides to keep a field empty, he should not be able to post an image into the backend database. So after this, let's go ahead and check if these fields are empty. So we'll type in if not text utils dot is empty and check for the emptiness of the name, also checking the emptiness for the description. So we'll type if not text utils again, or what you could simply do is that you could simply copy this if you are lazy like me and paste it over here a bunch of times, and this one is going to be for the description text, and this one is going to be for the price text. And once we ensure that these three values are non-empty, we are good to go to proceed ahead and store the image into the storage reference. So we have already created the storage reference variable over there, so let's create one more variable over here. So that's going to be storage reference, let's say file path equals storage reference dot child, and here what you could do is that you could type in URI dot get last path segment. So in here what we are essentially doing is that we are setting up the URI's last path segment to the storage reference. So once we are done with this, the next thing which we do is that we go ahead and put the file into the storage. So we'll type in file path dot put file, and you need to pass in the URI, which is this URI over here, and I actually misspelled URI, so that is going to be URI. And then finally, in order to make sure if the image is actually added, we are going to add an onSuccessListener to it. So we'll type in add onSuccessListener, that's going to be new onSuccessListener, and it's going to give us a method which is going to be called as an onSuccess method. So make sure to have a semicolon over here. So in this onSuccess method, what you could essentially do is that you could go ahead and get the actual URI. So we actually need this URI in the further parts of this section. So I'm going to create a final variable here named as URI. For URI, named as download URI, or let's say URL. That's going to be task snapshot dot get download URL. So after this thing is successfully uploaded, you want to display the user that the image has been uploaded. So you could do that by using a toast. So we will use toast.makeText, and in here what you need to do is that you need to pass in the current activity, which is add food dot this comma, and let's say the message is going to be something like image uploaded. And the final thing which you do is that you set the toast length, which is going to be toast dot length long or short, and then finally type in show. So once this thing is done, we are basically good to go. So hopefully we have done everything correctly. So let me just open up the Firebase console now. So as you could see, this is the console and these are my previous projects. So this project is actually new food order. So I'm actually not able to see that currently. So let me just refresh this thing, and hopefully the project should be here by then. Okay, so we do have the project over here. So let me just open up the project, and in here you do need to make a few modifications. So the first modification you need to make is that you need to change the storage rules to null. So let's go to rules over here, and here you need to set in the auth rules equals null, because right now we have not authenticated the user. So once this thing is done, you are good to go. So now let's go to files, and right now as you could see, everything over here is completely empty. So let's save this code and run it so as to check if we are able to upload the image or not. Okay, so the application is up and running. Let me just record my screen quickly. Okay, so as you could see, let me just click in the add food item button. Let me select this button. I'm going to go to Explorer, internal storage, DCIM. That's going to be screenshots or snapshots, whatever you call it. Let me select this pizza, click OK. And here I'm going to type in a few random values over here because we don't want these fields to remain empty. So when I typed in these values and when I click this button, hopefully the thing should be uploaded. So we should be able to get a toast over here. And yeah, we got a toast which says image uploaded. So I'm going to stop recording my screen over here, and I'll show you guys if the image is actually uploaded in the database. So let me just open up the Firebase console, and in here right now there is nothing. So let me just hit refresh, and hopefully we should have our image over here. Okay, so as you could see now, the items folder has been automatically created. So if you click over here, it should have our image. So okay, so as you could see, we have our image over here. So let me just open this thing up so as to confirm. Yeah, so as you could see, we have our pizza image over here, and there is actually a black line over here because I have not cropped the image properly. So that's the reason for that, and no need to worry. So we have successfully uploaded the image to the backend. So in the next lecture, what we will do is that we will go ahead and upload the other values as well, that is the food item name, the item's description, and the item's price along with the image URL to the database. So right now we have just stored the image in the database, but we have not stored these values in the backend. So in the next lecture we will go for this. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.